Sure. I'm going to say real quick, this is side 2 or part 2 of Love, Power, and Serenity, lecture 84. Go ahead.
When you say that the power type or the will type is afraid of being helpless, that really resonates with me, and I can see the fear and the terror of that feeling helpless. So when I think of helplessness, I think that's a very negative way or negative. What would be the positive or the divine side of being helpless?
Okay, great question. What I really do is I play with this. And because I am an aggressive type, I tend to talk, and I sometimes don't listen for other contributions, so sometimes you have to whack me on the head to get your 2 words in. But the positive of helplessness would be to experience vulnerability. Let me describe it this way. There's a place of, we used to call it in class, I don't know why, but my class came up with this example, we used it every year for 8 years, of going through the hoop of fire, of discovering that something that you were afraid of wasn't going to kill you. So helplessness per se isn't an infant helpless. A human infant left on its own has 0 chance for survival. It is totally and completely helpless. And in that state, an infant can learn that it can depend on other people to give it what it needs. Now, I'm talking in the extreme. Of course, we don't get everything we need, and we resent that for the rest of our lives. But if you're speaking on this phone, if you're walking and talking, somebody gave you the basic essentials that human beings need to function. And so when you were at your absolute most helpless stage on this planet, you were not left on your own. And the degree to which we got met during that period, which is infant, obviously infant and child psychology, from a spiritual perspective, that emblazoned us with an attitude around being helpless. So you were asking what the positive of helplessness would be. And that's one example. I'll give you another. I had an experience once on a hike that I'm going to analogize. I did not do basic training. I was never in the military. But because I had an experience on a hike, I extrapolate, and I began to have a deep understanding of how military forces create such a strong bond in a fighting group. And by going through the basic training, breaking people down, showing them that they can't climb out of the mud, they can't scale the wall, they can't keep up. They'll always give you a task that is more than you can possibly accomplish. They'll figure out what you can do and assign you 120%. By taking you to the place where you can't do it, and having your team members reach out and help you, is a tremendous bonding process. Now, I learned that on a hike when my electrolytes got out of balance and I started feeling dizzy and I thought I'd have to quit and go back. And somebody said, no, we can help. And I realized that I had never in my life accepted help on a physical level like that since I was an infant. And in accepting their help, and a little humility, because I was a little prideful, and realizing that this hypoglycemic condition would pass, and allowing them to take my backpack and not running away from the situation, I learned a profound lesson that allowing people to help me, number one, it didn't kill me. Secondly, it didn't make me a baby. Thirdly, people didn't look down on me. That was in my mind. People were glad to help. They enjoyed being able to help me. And these particular people on the hike knew about the situation. They'd seen it before. It wasn't a drama to them. They were really cool with it. It was I had the problem. So those are 2 or 3 examples that I can give you of where becoming helpless can be a place of tremendous learning about yourself and your attitudes, and also about the willingness of others to reach out and give you a hand. So another example is the catastrophes that we've seen in various places on the planet. Yes, we've seen people who normally wake up in the morning and go to work and drive their car and take care of their families, totally devastated, completely and utterly devastated, to the point where they need food and water. And we don't feel high and mighty about getting food and water to them. In fact, it makes us feel good to be able to help other people. So when we talk about being helpless, we're really speaking from a very egocentric perspective. If we come out of that, and remember I talked about the 3 spheres, this would be in the place of the individual self-sphere, where we're only concerned about us and we don't care what the other person's learning. If we come out of that tight little bubble and we see where our helplessness allows other people to reach into the depth of their character and learn something about themselves and learn to bring more love forward for their fellow man, that's where helplessness can become a tremendous positive. Now, does that kind of help you out there on the helpless part? I hope so. Okay.